welcome back to the world of Splatoon 2. Now, I know it's been a while since my last visit, 9 months to be exact, and besides my absence, you might be wondering why I'm spinning the camera around in a circle. Well, it's drift. My controller has drift. Now, during my absence, there's been a couple of changes. One big one being this box. Heyo! Oh, and I guess this newfangled subway system. Yeah! I first awoke to old Grandpa here, who was definitely not invading my personal space, tell me that the last thing he remembers was an epic battle between Agent 3 and I. He also wanted to make a truce so we could figure out a way from wherever we were. Oh, and one last thing, I somehow lost all my memories. Sad stuff aside, it's time to make our way out of here. Oh, and yeah, one more thing. I decided to make you guys proud and switch to motion controls this time around. This will definitely make my aim better, right? It'll definitely improve, right? I arrived to this rundown subway station place where the only exit was blocked by a vault, and where there's a vault, there's usually a key. The only other thing in this room was an opening in the wall with an ink stream going into it, so that seems like a good place to start looking. It put me on top of this platform where I was given a gun and some bombs. With these, I can finally start doing a little old destruction. I quickly came upon these boxes and balloons with targets on them. Most likely, these are probably for target practice, which you'll soon learn that I desperately needed. After a little trek to the second floor, I found the key inside a box. As I was making my way back to the entrance, I stepped on that same platform again, but instead of giving me another weapon, it stripped mine off of me. I guess what weapon platform giveth, it also taketh. And now I'm saddeth. I unlocked the vault and headed further into the dark abyss. On the bright side, we found a way out. Well, sort of. It was another subway station, but this time it looked like it was in operating condition. The only weird part about this place was a random phone in the middle of the platform. And of course I answered it. The phone somehow scanned me and greeted me as 10,008. It also told me I was in a place called Deep Sea Metro Central Station. It then started going off on this place called the Promised Land, which apparently was the best thing in the whole wide world, with a cool side of beans. The only way up to this so-called Promised Land was to prove myself worthy. It gave me a CQ80 and a CQ card and told me to guard them with my life. Gramps over here called me Agent 8, which in my eyes was a way better name. The train arrived and we got on, still not knowing what we're about to get ourselves into. While we were chilling out on the train, we were greeted by this blue worm looking dude. This guy was named CQ Cucumber, and he was the conductor of the train. He also moves very slow. When he eventually got to us, he gave us a proper rundown on how to achieve our main goal. Old Cucumber over here told us that the deep sea subway system was connected through a series of test chambers, all operated by the Camabo Corporation. He then went on saying that in order to reach the Promised Land, we would have to pass a test at each subway station, all whilst collecting 4 thangs. And only then will the doors to the Promised Land open for us. In order to start these tests, I had to use my CQ80. Opening it allowed me to view the station map, and picking a station allowed me to start the test. Once at a station, I was given the available weapons through that weapons platform, which was actually called an equipper. In order to start a test, I had to pay a fee. Luckily, old Cucumber hooked me up with a cool 1000 CQ points, cause, well, I was flat broke, and the only way to earn my own points was to pass the tests. I grabbed my weapon, paid the fee, and it was time to take on this test. Unlike Octo Valley, this place felt very weird. I mean, it was probably due to the fact that we're not on top of some random floating platforms, but the whole thing kind of felt off, you know? Also, there's underground trees. That's a thing. Anyways, while I was exploring, all of a sudden a blue Octoling popped up. But hey, maybe that's a good thing. Nope. I quickly took a route, and doing so opened up a gate. I then found this pretty sick helmet. Hopefully my newly acquired headgear would prepare me for trouble. And make it double, these 2 Octolings had an inking lust for me and went straight for my helmet. Luckily, it gave me an opportunity to put one down. The other one tried to blend into the grass, but unfortunately, I was watching the whole time. It was time to venture through the final area. I picked up another helmet and found a can with a special inside. I think this was a splashdown, I don't really remember for sure. A single Octoling popped up, and instead of jumping down, she flew through the air with a jetpack. Although she was in the air, she still tried to fight up close and personal. I let her know immediately that that was a bad decision. The final gate went down and revealed this weird floating thing. I shot first and asked questions later. Turns out this thing is the end goal, which marks the end of the test. I passed with flying colors and was awarded this inkling eraser thing. Once I was back on board the train, Old Cucumber congratulated me on passing the test and told me that this eraser thing I collected was called a mem cake. Apparently, mem cakes are created by compressing memories into a physical form. Since I completed my first test, I can now access other stations to test my skills. While I was getting a rundown, Old Mate Cuttlefish got a transmission through his walkie-talkie. Could it be Agent 3 perhaps? Nope, it was none other than the MC Princess herself, Pearl. Before we knew it, we had a rap battle going on between MC Craig and the MC Princess. Unfortunately, Marina had to put a stop to it. She said that they found a radio while walking through Mount Nantai, which was near Octo Valley. Cuttlefish explained that we were stuck deep underground. Fortunately for us, we now have above ground support thanks to DJ Hyperfish, aka Marina. Though we have a little more support, we still need to start knocking out these tests in order to reach this promised land. I selected the station and was off. Once I arrived at the station, I was given a blaster that fires in spurts and a good old splat bomb. After paying the fee, I went into a more reminiscence looking place. The floating platforms are back! Now with these weird skybox lights and giant phones. Anyways, it was time to get our bounce on. Instead of octolings like before, I had to deal with these octo boys who look a little more blue. Baba-dee, baba-die. Luckily, these boys were no different than their regular variants, and I took them out with relative ease. I bounced my way to the next section where instead of octo boys, I had to avoid these ink sticks. As luck would have it, I effortlessly made my way towards this platform, though unfortunately, I had a much harder time getting on top of it. I almost fell several times. Luckily, I made it with only 8 seconds remaining. Oh yeah, we have to beat this test in a certain amount of time. I legitimately didn't know there was a time limit till this moment. This next leg was really testing my bouncing skills by avoiding more of these ink sticks. I made it to this lower platform where I had to grab a key and start filling up some sponges in order to advance. It's a really good thing my blaster fills them up fast. I reached the top and flew to the last stretch. Here I ran into a bouncing sniper. We should probably switch professions. I made it past him and got to play with this cannon. Using the cannon allowed me to shoot this fan, which brought a platform close to me so I could cross. Although I used my very high IQ and decided to ink up the platforms way ahead so I could easily walk through the finish line. I brought the platform back and all I had to do was keep calm and stay on. I reached the end where my pre-inking came in handy. Now that I'm on top, I can easily walk to the finish. Ooh, turns out there's still some obstacles in the way. I carefully avoided the hazards, got my revenge, and passed the test. And on that note, I'll probably stop it here for today. I know that this video is a little shorter than the previous installments, but don't worry, it's all part of the plan. I hope you guys will join me on our Octo adventure through the deep sea metro in the future. And hey, liking and subscribing would be awesome too.